following the agenda to Joao and Kelly. This is the agenda for today. Joao is the head of sector of Digit D3, an experienced enterprise architect in the European Commission, specializing in large, complex projects, and currently heading the CEF building block sector in Digit.
Good morning, everyone. I see some of you quite cold in this morning. So thank you very much for coming here to Brussels and joining the event, which is co-organized with our colleagues here and many other DGs. I also would like to say hello to the colleagues there of SecGen that are here as well, and those online. So my presentation is really about taking a step back and trying to explain to you why do we consider e-archiving to be a building block. Make sense? Building blocks? Yes. As you know, e-archiving is part of a wider family of technologies that we like to call building blocks, and we put them all together in this group called Connecting Europe Facility, or Connecting Europe Building Blocks. So let's then start from the very top. We are the European Commission. We are, of course, not doing technology for technology's sake. E-archiving and many other technologies are needed because they help our citizens to study, to work, and live abroad, right? That's why we do this. This is why we are interested in e-archiving. So some of the typical use cases that we are confronted every day if we live abroad are shown on your screen there. So it can range from submitting a tax declaration when you are abroad, or living abroad in that case, enrolling in a foreign university, opening a bank account. Use cases continue because these are called life events, right? And the same happens to the businesses. They also need to operate across borders more and more. Now, if we want this to happen, we need technology. That's for sure. So the next slide, basically, there should be one before, but doesn't matter. So we need technology, and we need technology because information must flow across borders. It must be interoperable. For information to flow across borders, we had a slide that is not there anymore that basically states that we need three fundamental elements. And of course, this is very high level, very big picture, but think about this because this is actually making sense. The first one is the commitment by the member states. We need commitment by the member states that information must flow across borders. We need EU regulations that go beyond one single member state. So we need EU regulations that are cross-border. And then we need technology. So if we would order the three, I would say commitment first, no impediments at regulation level, and thirdly, technology. What is shown there on the screen is the commitment by the member states actually to move towards a digital economy, which allows information to flow seamlessly across borders. And there is this even idea now of the once only principle, that you give your data to the public administration only once, and it will be able to flow across borders even when you are abroad. So it will be really once only European-wide. Then the second element, as I said, we need EU regulations to follow this idea. So this is why you see, for example, in the next slide, the GDPR regulation that everyone is talking about nowadays, which is data protection for EU citizens across borders. But we also have something called eIDAS, which makes it possible for ID information, so for mutual authentication of eIDs, for electronic signatures to be recognized also by all member states. So we have a flow of new regulation coming that makes Europe more digital and removes all these barriers or impediments and allows information to flow across borders. Thirdly, we need also, for Jensen, the next slide, we need also the technology. And typically the technology comes packed with or in a funding program. So the funding program, as it says, funding means money. The one that we are actually today talking about is the Connecting Europe Facility that is ending because we started this program in 2014. At the time we said, well, it will end in 2020. Well, 2020 is really tomorrow. But there is a new one coming, which will be Digital Europe. So this is why I think it's important to have such events to really mobilize everyone and continue, let's say, this energy around what we call building blocks. So in the Connecting Europe facility, what we did was to help every sector to get digital. So there you have the Justice Portal that basically allows European citizens to go online, for example, and find a lawyer or find a company. You can use it just now. It was funded with the Connecting Europe facility. If you are a consumer of goods online, you can go to the Online Dispute Resolution Portal, also by the European Commission, to help you dispute anything that went wrong with your online shopping. You can go to the Open Data Portal and look into data sets from all over Europe. You have the BREEZE portal, ESSI on social security. So every sector is bringing their services online at European scale, and that's very good. Now, when we see all of them doing the same, we have to think about, well, all of them have to actually go through the same process. So all of them need to authenticate. So they need a solution to authenticate. All of them might need to sign a document. So they need a solution to sign. They might need to archive. So they might need a solution to archive. So that's what we call the building blocks. Building blocks are the fundamental elements that support all these different sectors to become digital across borders. So that if you have common problems, you find common solutions. So if we have an e-archiving building block, we can suggest it to the justice domain, healthcare, social security, it doesn't matter. It's multi-purpose, can be implemented by all these sectors. So this is why we like to position e-archiving as a building block and not simply like another EU project. Maybe if you click, yes. We also give grants to those that are interested in implementing the building blocks and those that are actually connecting to these different portals, because these portals actually connect them to the member states. And those are grants. We will still have one final round of grants this year. Typically 75% of the eligible cost is funded by this EU program. So if you are interested, keep on the lookout, and I'm sure a grant will come your way. Next slide, so I will accelerate here a bit. All building blocks, including e-archiving, are based on standards. So we are the European Commission. Again, we are interested in this element of EU-wide standardization. Multiple solutions can be built, meaning software products, services, by the private sector. So even though this is a public sector push, we very much count on the private sector to help us and to basically use this as a business opportunity. And this is why all building blocks are fundamentally based on EU-wide standards and technical specifications that can be used for building your own, let's say, product that you can then go in the market and have a European-wide audience to consume it. Then, very quickly on the next slide, these are the building blocks that we currently have in the Connecting Europe facility. So after this event, you might have a look at CEF Digital, and then I will pass the word to Kelly. That is our stakeholder management office. She really makes it possible for you to have all the information about the building blocks. So very quickly, we have a big data test infrastructure for public administrations. We have Context Broker for real-time information, and it's very used in smart cities projects. Of course, we have our dear e-archiving building block. We have blockchain. We have e-invoicing, e-ID, e-delivery, e-signature, and e-translation. So all these building blocks are given to the different sectors for them to basically build services that can help citizens, businesses, and public administrations to exchange information, store information, and share information across borders. So I think I've made my pitch. I hope you actually, just one final slide, not that one, Fulgencio, next one. Following one, yes, one more. Yes. If you want to know who is actually using the building block or the building blocks, you can go online. We have a dashboard that shows all European projects using the building blocks and provides a lot of information about the evolution of reuse. There we basically state that we have 170 known projects reusing the building blocks, but the curve is growing. It's up and to the right, as we like to say. So have a look, and if you know a project that could benefit from the building blocks, please let them know. They are free for use, and the European Commission is here to help you in case you're interested to know